There aren't a lot of right-wing figures that I regard as outright evil. Many I call shameless, grifters, sad, pathetic. I've got a lot of words that I use to describe them, but very few do I call evil. Blaire White, though, is one of them. Not only does she use her massive platform to spread hate, and hate against the group that she is a part of, for that matter, which is, of course, quite silly, but she also uses it to lie. Now, in politics, there's different kinds of lies. There are lies that people believe and repeat because it serves them. There are lies that people believe and repeat because it agrees with their ideas and they don't care to look into whether or not it's true because it's convenient if it is true. And then there are the lies that are spread knowingly and maliciously to fool others. And Blaire White is that kind of liar. She is the third type that I just listed. One of the most insane cases of her being a liar has to be when she misquoted the Canadian Cancer Society, talking about cervical cancer being possible in trans women who've had bottom surgery because they have what's called a neocervix, and that region can get cancer, and you do have to get basically just a pap smear like a cis woman would get to check for cancer in that region. And a video had been made talking about how it's important for post-op trans women to get that occasional checkup, and Blaire White framed it as ridiculous and crazy and something only claimed by trans people that are deluded into believing that it's possible for them to get cervical cancer. And then she shows a clipped sentence from the Canadian Cancer Society's website that seems to imply it would be crazy to think you needed to get a pap smear if you're a trans woman. But if you read past where she cut it off, it goes on to say, if, however, you are post-op and have had a neocervix created, you do need to get regularly checked. So she has literally spread dangerous, arguably deadly misinfo just to back up her worldview at this idea that trans people, young progressive trans people online, are deranged. And you know, she makes claims like, trans women, they think they can have periods and give birth and need to get pap smears. Like, it's this kind of mindset of, I'm one of the good trans people who understands that I'm actually a man. But all these trans people, the ones you really hate, they think they are biologically the gender they identify with. That's basically the line of attack she uses. And it's quite effective because when you're a member of a marginalized group, there are a lot of people who would naturally default to hating you. But if instead you make your entire identity hating the group you're a part of, those people will instead see you as a valuable tool to help destroy the rights and standing of the group you're a part of. You'll be a useful idiot for them, and it may, you know, in the perception of some people, be the safest route to go. Although for Blaire White, it's very evidently just it's just a grift. She actually uploaded a video a few days ago, her newest one, called Woke TikTok is Losing It Over Trump's Election. So I imagine this is mostly just going to be her gloating about Trump's win and, celebrating how upset some, lefties on TikTok are. Once again, I must remind you, there is nothing that chuds love more than looking at the upsettedness of progressives. The left doesn't need conservatives to be triggered or angry or to argue with or troll in order to enjoy existing or to have a space. But the right cannot keep a space going without lefties to troll. It'll always end up becoming a niche little corner of the internet, like 4chan or, any other type of far-right area of the internet. Just ends up becoming hyper niche. And so they end up having to chase the normies to the mainstream platforms so they have someone to bully. And this is a good example of that tendency in action. Let's check out the video. I don't know how much of it we're going to be able to watch because Blaire White is insufferable. Don't know how much patience I'll have, but let's try this.
I'm sorry! No!
You're queer and your family voted for Trump like mine did. Hi, hello, I'm your mother now.
It's not giving mom. It's giving white dudes for Harris. It's giving child of Satan.
Great.
There was a time, by the way, when Blaire White made a crying, literally crying apology about misgendering a trans YouTuber back in the day. Back before, the hateful grift was big. Let me see if I can find it. Blaire White crying apology.
Riley's getting her first transition-specific surgery this month, so am I. We are basically at the same point in our transition, yet the internet and myself have participated in this like false juxtaposition between me and Riley, that I was a real trans person. Riley was a fake trans person. And the truth is, we're almost at the exact same point in our transition. And I'm someone who's had my transition picked apart online. There have been Reddit threads and 4chan threads with hundreds of comments on it of people trying to prove that I'm not trans because I haven't done this or that, or, you know, digging up my old pictures. And, you know, I'm a strong person, I'm a happy person, but to sit here and pretend like it doesn't affect me at all would just be a lie. So
She's fully aware of what she's doing, and this is far from the first or last time she's made a crying apology like this after her own fans, because she still has a decent contingent of trans and LGBT fans, and back then especially a lot of makeup and beauty community fans and friends and stuff. So for a while she was actually held to account to some extent and couldn't let herself go too far. But as the right and like far right QAnon stuff has dominated the internet in recent years, she's fully shifted. Like she's literally probably fucked Alex Jones. Like it's basically confirmed that her and Alex Jones have fucked before. Obviously they've hung out a lot. She's fully behind Trump. She's gone from like crying about like making other trans people feel hurt and talking about how it makes her feel hurt when her identity is questioned, to now attacking her own identity and attacking the identity of as many other trans people as she can, because that's what's making her money. She fully sold her soul, and because her audience is so hateful now, she doesn't even have to pretend like she has good intentions anymore. She can fully lean into the, aggressive hate. Here, I don't care about the coming up section.
Coming up here, after talking about why I'm voting for X, and it's the person that lost, I mean, that would be sad. So I'm happy. I'm quite happy. But I would like to check in on the lovely Libs and see how they feel after the election.
I'm sorry. No. Why?
That video doesn't look real, but I guess it could be. My advice would be don't upload a video of you melting down over the election results on the internet, I guess. Man, if y'all had come out and voted, this would have been the chuds right now, not us.
Why? Do you really hate me that bad?
That loogie? Oh my God. Did y'all see that? That was disgusting. There's something deeply unwell when an election even phases you this bad. First of all, I understand that if you're on the...
Remember, guys, a big part of conservative politics is to push the idea that politics don't really matter unless you're fighting against the woke. That the left's concerns and ideals for the country are completely hollow and meaningless, and that they just want to win team sports, and that it's actually the right fighting to save the country. It's a weird framing of, like, you've got the conservatives who play it up like they're heroes fighting against the woke mob, and you've got the conservatives like Blaire White who play it up like they're centrists who just prefer Trump, and they're making fun of the fact the left takes the election so seriously, but it doesn't really matter. When the fact is, this election very much does matter. Trump is running on some very, very radical policies that are going to affect a lot of Americans. And so particularly if you're a person of color in this country, an immigrant or LGBT, yeah, you'd be kind of scared right now. The people who won are running on the idea of, like, erasing you, you know?
Losing end of an election, it's giving why. Like last election, I definitely said why, right? However, not like that. And
yes, you guys did. You literally tried to coup the government. You tried to overturn the election results. A mob was sent by Trump to the Capitol on the day of the election results certification, and they delayed it by several hours by breaking into the Capitol. Multiple people died. They were armed. Countless of them were charged with felonies. Their only hope now is that Trump's going to give them all pardons. If he might not. It would be really funny if Trump didn't pardon any of them, because he just doesn't give a fuck about them. That would be a really big self-report about what Trump thinks of his own followers if he doesn't pardon the J6ers.
And if you really feel as though the rotating, like every 4 years, new president, unless they get elected for a second term, is really going to affect and destroy your life like that, you've been lied to.
Guys, politics don't matter. The president doesn't matter. The left, they care too much about politics, and that's why you should be opposed to them. It's a classic method. She's carried this talking point since 2016.
You, sweetheart. You've been very much lied to. You've been very much propagandized. And unfortunately, not to interrupt, the Disney...
I love the people who have all the money and platform on the internet and who have like the vast majority of propagandistic like content on their propaganda, saying that the people who are upset about Trump have been propagandized to. Meanwhile, like the largest progressive spaces online are pretty niche compared to even your average right-wing space online. Elon owns Twitter right now, and she's like, you've been brainwashed. By who? By what? By where? Like, progressives are dropping CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, and MSNBC across the board. Like, are there any mainstream left-wing outlets that are accepted by the left anymore? Where is this brainwashing cult-like behavior coming from? This is a group of people who will never accept fault in Trump's actions, but will find any way to attack the left for any tangential association with a bad actor that they can identify.
Disney movie you're living in here, in your head. It is in fact not apocalyptic and not
Okay. But politics doesn't matter.
Did you take your meds? Did you breathe? Are you breathing?
You look like a fairy princess that resides over the pits of hell. And listen, I really don't. It's not giving mom. It's giving white dudes for Harris. It's giving child of Satan. It's giving bizarre man preying on people when they're emotionally vulnerable, which is the...
So yeah, a lot of her content these days is just calling trans people pedophiles to her audience. They obviously end up getting death threats and harassment for it, but as I've said many times, YouTube does not give any fucks whatsoever. They don't apply their rules anymore to anyone with enough subs to like, if you've got 1 million subs or more, there are no rules on YouTube.
The female base of the Democrat Party right now, and someone needs to bless you, bitch. It's just not.
It's so hard to watch with how annoying she is. I need you to know that like hundreds of thousands more people are watching her videos every day than even like the largest progressive figures, okay? And this is true of almost every conservative pundit you can think of. If you want this to change, you gotta hit that like button. You gotta comment. You gotta sub. You gotta engage with your favorite progressive content. If you want anybody to have a chance of countering this woman in the online space, it's on you guys. You gotta support. You gotta come out. You gotta come out in droves. Because trust me, Blaire White's fans are. This video's got 4,000 comments and 19,000 likes. We gotta compete with that if we're getting anywhere. Is she the most popular trans YouTuber? Yes. If you're a young trans person online, Blaire White will be the first person you gravitate towards and find. If you're looking to follow a successful large trans YouTuber, you will find Blaire White first. That is why she is a fairly dangerous figure. A lot of young trans people are gravitating towards her as their go-to. Oh, my power might go out, guys.
See, I feel like I have this increased ability. Tell me if y'all who are getting a little bit on the older side, right? Because she is now 31. I feel like I just have an increased ability to detect demons. I feel like I can just see it now, right? And
Contra's bigger? Yeah, but Contra doesn't upload enough for YouTube to promote her stuff. Blaire White has less subs, but because she uploads so much more often, YouTube is about 100 times more likely to recommend a Blaire White video than a ContraPoints video. Keep that in mind.
it's all there, and I'm not even looking at the outward appearance. I'm looking deep in that soul.
Man, I miss when Blaire White at least put in an effort to make an argument. Now it's just bullying. Like, I guess the only thing I could do in response to this is bully her, because, like, good lord, did she... I feel like any way I want to bully her, it's just gonna be transphobic. But I feel like I could bully her really hard if I wanted to. Like, people would just consider it transphobic if I made fun of her appearance, but, like, dude, Blaire White got way too much plastic surgery. I'm just gonna say it. She looked pretty, like, 4 or 5 years ago. She was a pretty lady 4 or 5 years ago, and then, like, she just started getting more plastic surgery, and I think Botox too, maybe. And now she's, like, her face is stretched to her skin, and her lips are, like, constantly in that pouty, like mewing shape. And so she's not only kind of ugly now, but she is going to get extensively and exponentially uglier as she ages, because she is so vain that she overdid it. She went beyond transitioning and went full bimbo mode. Like, she got, like, there's, like, a certain level of cosmetic surgery where it's like, okay, you pass now. Like, you're done transitioning. You're good. You did it. And if you keep doing it, you've gone from being just trans to also being like a cosmetic surgery addict. And I think that's kind of what Blaire White gives the vibes of.
Asking me if she should start carrying her passport in case they start doing mass deportations to prove that she's a citizen. It's so sad.
I wonder if Blaire's talking point is going to be there's not going to be mass deportations, or if it's going to be, well, it's good if there are. I'm wondering what it's going to be.
And there is the moment where you prove yourself to be a failure. Why? Because any responsible daughter of a mother who genuinely is afraid like that and so irrationally is going to say something to comfort said mother and say, hey, he's deporting illegals. But then again, of course, you're hooked up to that propaganda machine. That is.
Okay, Donald Trump has specifically expressed that he wants to eliminate visas, visiting people being able to visit, and he wants to eliminate DACA. So people who technically have citizenship in this country and are not illegal immigrants would no longer have legal status in this country based on what Trump is running on. You'll see that a lot of the most popular conservative pundits make they get a lot of their support from pushing the idea that the left is over-exaggerating and over-worried about nothing, and that Trump is just going to be another random president in office for the next 4 years. No one's going to notice any differences, and the left is just overreacting. All the while, these people tried to overthrow the government when their guy lost 4 years ago. They have meltdowns and tried to get Biden arrested, Biden crime family, just nonstop like attacks on Biden that kept falling flat over and over and over again for the last 4 years because they were so upset about the results. And that all came after they tried to overthrow the government to overturn the results with violence. The attempts to like make these two things equal is just so shameless and sad. But it's such an effective strategy. These people do it across the board and people buy it. The idea that the left is overly concerned about politics is a depressingly successful and popular talking point. I really don't know how you counter it outside of just explaining, no, Trump's actually running on the idea of eliminating programs that would make currently legal citizens of the U.S. no longer have citizenship status. That is why far more than just undocumented immigrants in America are afraid of this outcome. Because when Trump was in office last time, DACA only survived by the skin of its teeth. I can't watch any more Blaire White. Like I said, I've got a limited social battery, as Hassan would say, when it comes to Blaire White. All right, I can't handle too much of her obnoxious, smug bullshit. Regardless, though, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. I really do appreciate it. Every single thumbs up you can consider like casting a blue ballot for YouTube to, in real time, push my content in the algorithm to more new and old viewers alike. Same goes for comments as well. Likes and comments are massively appreciated. Thank you to everybody who does that. Same goes to everyone who goes out of the way to hit that sub button and turn on the notifications and ring the bell icon so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video in the future. You can also follow my social medias linked down below in the description, including my fan Discord if you haven't already. My power flickered, lol. Oh, I'm scared, K-Deck. My fan Discord if you haven't already. At least once a week I host gaming events, call-in streams, and watch parties in my Discord. So make sure you join for that. And on top of that, if you want to support me directly, help me keep the lights on, funnily enough, no pun intended, and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live. Or, if you haven't already, consider leaving a kind comment and like, as I said before. Regardless, though, if you enjoyed this video, I hope to see you again, and as always, have a good one.